The Digital Divide, Are We Divided? By Kayla Cetrone and Kim McCoy. As Paul Gorski suggests, wealthier students, white students, and young men on average are being socialized and trained to participate in an increasingly computer-reliant society and world. Many students of color, young women, and low-income students are being socialized to see computers more or less as digital flashcards.
Digital technology allows compression of communication signals for faster and easier transmission of information. That technology encompasses a variety of tools and toys, including computers, cell phones, and video games, just to name a few.
Scholars, educators, and activists have used the term digital divide since the mid-1990s to describe disparities in access to computers and the Internet based on race, socioeconomic status, gender, and other social and cultural identifiers. There are several different levels of access, ranging from simply having a computer at home or at school to having skills to utilize its enormous capabilities.
Race, socioeconomic status, gender, age, geographic area, and education level are often thought to be correlates that cause the gap in the digital divide.
According to the 2009 Wireless Internet Use Pew Report, 56% of Americans have accessed the Internet wirelessly, and there's a stark racial divide in the devices we use. About half of the African American and English-speaking Hispanic population accesses the Internet through cell phones and other handheld devices, but only 28% of white Americans have ever done so. So while the chart appears to show the gap closing, it is important to establish how they are actually accessing the Internet. Over the years, studies have shown that the digital divide is closing in the school setting. Technology and computers in the schools is becoming more common even in the lowest socioeconomic schools. Through initiatives like No Child Left Behind, students in even the lowest socioeconomic homes have access to the same information as those students in more affluent communities. Where the divide is not closing as rapidly is home computer access and the skill level of users between high and low socioeconomic groups. When talking about access, it is important to remember that many schools have outdated equipment and overbearing security that prevents students from fully utilizing the Internet in the same way that they could at home. Technology not only improves students' academic achievements, but it will help to ensure their socioeconomic future. One of the main causes of the digital divide is lack of access to computers and the Internet. While obtaining access is a starting block, what is more important is to empower people with the appropriate educational, cognitive, and behavioral skills and tools needed to make the most of their Internet access. Schools need to follow national technology standards when implementing technology into the classroom. School personnel should look for ways to raise money in an effort to bring technology into the classroom. In addition, these schools need to allocate money for things like tech support, professional development, and regular upgrades. Community members need to be supportive and create open access labs that can house the technology and offer a learning conducive environment.
According to research presented in Cooper, women are at a disadvantage relative to men when learning about computers or learning with the aid of computers. The advantages that technology provides are being conveyed disproportionately to men in our society. Why is this? There is no innate difference between men and women when it comes to their ability to use computers. The disadvantage comes from the stereotypical response that people have toward computers and the chain of events these stereotypes set into motion. Social stereotypes link technology to gender. This in turn creates the idea that computers are toys for boys. Software designers gear their products toward activities that interest boys rather than girls, causing disinterest, stress, anxiety, and negative attitudes in girls. Girls also attribute computer success and failure differently than boys. Girls feel that if they are successful in computer use, it is a result of hard work or luck, while boys feel it is a reflection of skill. In addressing failure, girls attribute failure to their lack of ability and skill, which in turn leads to stress, anxiety, and rejection of computer learning. With anxiety and stress comes poor attitudes about computers, which then circles back around to reinforce the stereotype. The gender gap has already started to be bridged. Software designs have now begun to focus not only on boys, but on girls as well. It is thought that by allowing girls to interact with computers one-on-one or in small same-sex groups, anxiety has decreased significantly. Girls need to be taught that they too are successful because of skill, not simply luck. As the gap closes, women will become positive role models for the youngsters growing up, thus eliminating the gap. That being said, in different areas around the world, this gap is not closing. Globally, the gap continues to be extensive since women's rights as a whole are so limited in many parts of the world. The UN has placed access to information technology as the third most important issue facing women globally, after poverty and violence against women. Age is a factor in the divide, mostly as a result of timing. Young people have grown up with the technology, so there is no learning curve for them. Older generations, those that thought a manual typewriter was technology, have a more difficult time adapting to the use of computers. Unless they are directly involved in the use of the technology, they are not forced to adapt and orient themselves. If they haven't needed it up to this point, why do they need it now? It is important to expose seniors to the many uses of technology. By providing them with knowledge, a whole world of possibilities are opening up to them. They need to be taught how social networking can enable them to communicate with loved ones, connect with long-lost friends, and share photos. They need to be shown how to access medical information on the Internet. They need to know that they can use digital schedules to keep track of appointments and medications. Eventually, as time goes by, and those that are young now become older, the divide will be eliminated. But in the meantime, let's give our seniors the opportunity to connect and use the technology.
Having computer access does not necessarily mean that one has the skills and abilities to take advantage of all the opportunities technology has to offer. The new divide is how the technology is used. For many children, the schools, libraries, and community centers may be the only place where they have access to school-based technology. Technology is everywhere in our society, and while it physically may be in our schools, the teaching and learning that needs to accompany it isn't always there. Just because students can turn the machine on, write an email, or do a few programs is not effective technology use. For a teacher, there needs to be time to explore, examine, extract what there is of value, evaluate how it makes teaching and learning different, and how the technology can support student learning. Simply giving students the tools isn't enough. Instead, they need to be shown how to use them.